Morning, everybody. I'm David, and it's good to see you back here today. So, when you're ready, find your way to a seated position of some type, and we'll begin with some of those breathing exercises we do. Whenever you've established that, just let your hands rest on your legs or in your lap in some comfortable way. Close your eyes for the next few moments. And begin the process of checking into your breath. At first, no need to deepen it at all. Just pay attention to your inhaling. Pay attention to your exhaling. And in those moments where you completely forget about your breath, or you get lost in thought, or distracted by something else, just notice and slowly redirect your awareness to your breath. And then today, to calm your mind, keep breathing normally, with one small exception. Pause your breath at the end of your exhales for around 5 seconds, or until it becomes moderately uncomfortable. Afterward, take a normal breath, an inhale and an exhale. Pause your breath outward again. And as you repeat that cycle over and over again, try to relax mentally and physically every time you pause your breath. As you pause, let your mind settle, your thoughts settle, like fall leaves settling to the ground. If you're able to pause your breath a little longer, try. But if that's a stretch, stay with the same duration that you were doing a few moments ago. And return to completely normal inhales and exhales with no pause at the end of your breath. And join your hands together in a prayer at your heart. Think of someone you would like to dedicate today's practices to. Send some good energy to your person mentally. And when you're ready, then open your eyes. All right, today we'll start with a few warm-up stretches. So shift back to the cat-cow create position with your shoulders right above your hands. Place the tops of your feet on the floor and move toward a child's pose. Let your hips drop down toward your heels. Your rib cage drops down toward your thighs and your head hangs heavy. For the next few moments, walk your hands forward to elongate your arms a bit. Press outward through your hands and just use that outward pressure to drop your hips a slight bit closer to your heels. As your hips continue to drop, walk your hands as far right as they will go. And perhaps wiggle your left fingertips even further over to the side. Drop your left armpit closer to the ground to stretch some portion of your lats. And take some deep breaths. And the same posture on the other side. Walk your hands all the way over to the side. Once you've got them there, wiggle your right fingertips slightly forward. Drop your right armpit closer to the earth and breathe into the spots that feel tight. Then walk your hands back to the cat-cow kriya position. Come up so that your shoulders stack right above your hands. And then lunge your right foot all the way forward to the front of your mat. With your right knee directly above your right ankle, slide your left leg a little further backwards. And then plant your hands on the floor inside of your foot. Hug your right knee in toward your midline. And just let your body's weight sink down toward the floor to stretch the back of the right leg and the front of your left leg. Slow, deep breaths again. If you feel any gripping in the right leg, just try to relax it mentally. You feel the muscle softening away from the bones. Lift your hips a bit higher to take the tension off of the legs. Sweep your leg back to the cat-cow kriya position. And then lunge your other leg all the way ahead. Reposition your legs if necessary. You want your front knee above the ankle, so scoot your rear leg back a bit if it helps. And plant your hands on the floor inside of your foot. Rather than tilting your knee out to your side, draw it tightly into your midline. And let your hips drop down and forward toward the front of your mat. Pretty amazing stretch in your hamstrings and your hip flexors as well. And a great spot to take some breaths. Breath by breath by breath, just let your hips sink toward the floor like a big burlap sack filled with sand. And just a few breaths more. And then shift your hips backward just a bit. Step back to the cat-cow kriya position. Straighten your legs, and this time lower to your belly. Prop yourself up on your elbows for the Sphinx posture. Slide your shoulders away from your ears toward your belt. Lift your collarbones a slight bit higher. And then pull backward with your arms to drag your chest forward. And lift upwards through your heart and your chest. At the same time, activate your legs by really stretching back through your tiptoes for now. Now, keeping your chest relatively lifted, plant your hands in a push-up position right near the bottom of your ribs. With the tops of your feet resting on the floor, stretch back through your legs until your kneecaps fly off the earth. With your chest lifted, press down through your hands to come to an up dog. If you want a deeper stretch than that, pull back with your hands, lift upwards to your collarbones and your chest. And then back to the down dog stretch from there. Walk your hands a bit closer together if they were wide apart. Come way up to the tips of your toes and move your hips and your heels to the right and take your heels closer to the ground on that side. And take them all the way over for the same posture on side B. And use your next inhale to roll to the plank position. Drop your knees down to the ground. And thread the needle on your right side. Sweep your right arm all the way across your midline. And drop your rib cage down until your shoulder and head come to the earth. And breathe deeply into that as you continue twisting your spine. Press down through your hand and come back up. And then thread the needle on whichever side you have not done. Press down through your hand to come all the way back up. With your toes curled under back there, lift your hips into the air for the down dog stretch. This time, drive out through your hands. And at the same time, press both heels closer to the ground. Shake your head yes a couple times to loosen up the back of your neck. And drive out through your palms so that both arms feel straight and long. A few of the deepest breaths that you can draw. Now for some additional height, come all the way up to the tips of your toes. Once you've done so, step your right foot all the way forward, turn your back heel down to the ground, and come up to Warrior 2 with an inhale. Torso facing all the way off to your side. Bend your front leg until it burns. Lean forward and stack your right arm on your leg. Reach your left arm all the way over your ear toward the front, and then rotate and twist your torso open to the edge. And try to create a long line of energy from your left ankle all the way out through your left fingertips. Now, it's of course completely optional, but if you wish to go further, reach your right arm forward at the same angle as the left. Maintain your forward lean over the leg there, and keep breathing with depth. With your front leg still bent, return to Warrior 2 with an inhale. Turn your right hand to face up. Reverse the warrior from there, side bending to your left. Reach strongly through your right hand to open up space between your ribs while there. And try to keep your front leg substantially bent. Now use an inhale to come all the way back up for Warrior 2. Plant your hands on the floor. Step back from there for the high push-up position. Pause there with your arms straight. And curl your chin to your chest and look at your belly. Press your hands down really hard to round the space between your shoulder blades. Roll your tail under and hold. And then looking all the way forward at the front, lower down till shoulder becomes roughly even with elbow. Press to the up dog with an inhale. And lift again to the down dog stretch with your exhale. Rock your shoulders forward toward your hands and come up to your tiptoes. Step your left foot all the way forward for Warrior 2 position, second side. Spiral and spin to the upright so your torso faces sideways. With your front leg bent, lean all the way out and forward. Stack your left arm on the thigh itself. Reach your right arm forward to the front of your mat. And at first, just set the rotation in your spine. Twist your torso, open to your right. If you can manage to keep both sides of your body long in the torso, reach your left arm forward and keep twisting everything open to the edge. And now power down through your foot, pop all the way back up to Warrior 2. With your left hand facing upward, reverse the warrior again. Reach strongly through your left hands and bend a little deeper into your left leg if you're able to for now. Try to keep breathing through your nose and with depth. Now windmill all the way up. Step back to the high push-up position. Pause there with your arms straight. Squeeze your bum. Drive down through your hands. Curl your chin to your chest and keep breathing deeply while there. Lower down through chaturanga, then the up dog, and all the way back to the down dog stretch. This time, lunge your right foot forward. Walk your hands across the ground and face the long edge of your mat. Turning your toes out, and bend your legs so you feel some stretching in your inner thighs. And then tuck your ribs down in the front so that everything from your hips to your shoulders is compact like a tube of toothpaste. Now from that position there, take your hands off of the floor. Reach your arms completely out to your sides and bend your legs just a little bit more if you can. Slow breaths in and slow breaths out. Now, if you want to make it harder, reach your arms forward with palms facing up. Lift your arms just a little higher upward still. Now let your arms hang near the ground, crisscrossing the arms just to get them out of the way. Use an inhale and stand up completely. Straighten your legs, reach your arms outwards and then upwards to the sky. Bend and cross with your exhale. Inhale to stand all the way up. Straighten your legs and squeeze your backside. Exhale, bend and cross. Inhale, rise up. Exhale. Inhale upwards. Exhale. One more time, inhale up. Squeeze your bum as you rise. This time with arms upward lifted. Bend your knees, press your knees out to your sideways, and drop a little deeper down for the horse. Press your arms overhead as well as back, and just keep breathing. Try to relax a little bit mentally and physically and let your bones support the pose. And then sweep your arms outwards and upwards. Straighten your legs once you have. Take a huge step to get back to the front of your mat. Use an inhale to sweep both arms up. Forward fold as you exhale. Lift to your fingers on the inhale. And then squat down upon your heels. Moving knees way out to the side. And as your hips drop down toward the floor, walk your hands forward toward the front. Now you're always welcome to stay higher up there if you like. If it feels completely okay for your back, round your back like a cat, curl your chin into your chest, and as your abdominal muscles contract, just keep walking your hands forward for now. Now to move onward for the crow posture, take a look forward. Back your arms up and plant your hands on the floor, hips distance wide or maybe even wider. And today, consider poking your elbows out to the sides. Now rotate from one side to the other. Hike your legs higher upwards on your arms. Once you've done that, lean forward into your hands. And if you want to take the crow, lift up through your hips and elevate your feet off of the floor for just a little bit. You can jump from where you are if you like, otherwise take your feet down like me. Move back to the high plank position. Lower through chaturanga. Then the up dog with an inhale. And the down dog stretch with your exhale. Press out through your hands completely. And at the same time, drive your heels closer to the floor beneath. All right, this time step your left foot all the way forward. Grab a hold of your foot and spin your toes all the way out to your side. So your foot's parallel-ish with the front of your mat. Take your left hand to your left knee, steeple your right fingertips, and then twist toward your bent leg. Try to round your back a little bit and attempt to take your right shoulder closer to your left inner knee. Now, continuing on with that, plant both hands on the floor near the left-hand side of your mat and spin to the blade edge of your back foot. So your legs wind up crisscrossed like an X. Walk your hands a little further left, straighten your front leg as much as you can. You can stay there if you like. Otherwise, twist your torso left and reach your left arm straight upwards in the air to the sky. Windmilling your hands to the floor. Rotate your left foot forward. With your back heel still spun up, take your left hand to your left knee, draw your torso to verticality, and then hook your right elbow all the way over your leg this time. Join your hands together in a prayer, and as you press back through your rearmost leg, twist your spinal column open to the side for now. Now release that twist so you can plant your hands. Step back to the high push-up position. Lower down through chaturanga. Breathe in for the up dog. Breathe out again for the down dog. The same three postures other side. Step your right foot all the way forward. Now when you grab your foot and attempt to turn it out, if it doesn't go parallel to the front of the mat, no biggie, just get as close as possible. Steeple your left fingertips, and take your hand to your knee, and then rotate toward your bent leg completely. Now to take your shoulder closer to the inner knee, you usually have to round your spine a little bit. Continue to twist, and draw left shoulder toward the right inner knee itself. Now place your hands on the floor near the right side of your mat. Flip onto the blade edge of your back foot. Roll onto the blade edge of your right foot as well. Walk your hands even further right. It takes a bit of time to straighten your legs, but just work toward a straighter right leg. It's also a ton of stretch in your hips, so if you're getting enough, stay there. Otherwise, rotate your spine to the right and reach your arms straight upward into the air. Now taking your hands down to the floor, bend your right leg. Walk everything around to face the front of your mat. With your right leg bent and your hand on your leg, reach your left arm all the way up in the air to the ceiling. Cross your arm all the way over your leg. Join your hands together in a prayer. Press back through your rear heel and twist some of the tension in your back and your hip away. The transition is very slightly different. Walk your hands over to face the left side of your mat. Turn your big toes in toward your center. Tuck your ribs down. Find that compact, brand new tube of toothpaste position in your hips and your torso, and lift up through your fingertips. Now that gives you enough stretch in your hamstrings. You just keep doing it like that. Otherwise, reach out there and grab your big toes. I like to put my thumb on the mat, which prevents me from toppling, at least when days go well. And then from that position there, belly crunch down to the front. Let your head hang heavily down. And for just a little while, hover there. If you want to take it deeper, extend to the top of your head and let the top of your head come down to tap the ground. All right, y'all use an inhale to come all the way up to your fingertips. Spin your right toes forward to face the front of your mat. Turn your back heel up to face the ceiling. And then walk your right hand even further forward and spin the fingers of your right hand outwards. Preparing for a half moon, step onto your front leg and straighten it as much as you can. Roll your left hip open to the edge and the side of your foot also. If the balance is going pretty well, touch your left hand to your heart. And if it's still going pretty well, reach your left arm all the way up to the ceiling above. Lift your leg higher and higher and higher still until you find your stopping point. Take your hands to the ground, bend your front leg. Step your rear foot all the way back. Walk your hands left across the mat until you find the long edge. Keep rotating around to face the back of your mat. Left foot becomes parallel to the side. Now when you place your left hand on the floor, walk it forward, over to the left so it can support some of the weight moving sideways, and turn your left fingertips out. Step all the way forward onto your leg, lift the back one up. In the half moon, the hip rolls open to the side, so spin it open. Perhaps touch your right hand to your heart. If the balance of it's going pretty well for you, then reach your arm straight up and keep elevating your leg high upwards to the sky. And take both hands to the floor and bend your left leg. Step your right foot back to a lunging posture. Walk your hands across the mat. From there, come up to your fingers. Take your hands to your hips. Stand all the way up. Shift your hips forward. And take a back bend once you've made it to the top. Exhale all the way back up. Turn your toes outwards and reach your arms sideways. Take a large and big step to get back to the front of your mat. For the next few moments, join your hands together in a prayer. Close your eyes and refocus all of your attention on your breath. And use an inhale to sweep your arms upwards. Forward fold as you exhale. Lift to your fingers on the inhale. Chaturanga push-up with your exhale. The up dog with a big breath in. The down dog with an exhale. So this time, come up to the tips of your toes. We're setting up for a side plank. So move your hips and your heels to the right, so the edges of your feet come to the floor, and reach your left arm straight upwards in the air to the sky. You can take your right knee to the floor if it's helpful. Otherwise, just maintain your overall position and keep rotating and spinning open to the side. Now, plant your hands down there on the ground. Move back to the down dog initially. Come up to the tips of your toes, and as your hips and heels move left, reach your right arm to the sky. If you like to take your knee to the floor, do so just like you did previously. Otherwise, just sort of balance there on the side of your foot. Windmill your hand down, take it to the earth. Your knees to the ground near the front of your mat. And crisscross your legs, roll backward to a seated position. And slide your legs all the way forward to the front. Next posture is done from reclining, so lower yourself all the way down to your back. Once you're laying there, scoot your feet all the way together. Squeeze your knees tightly into one another. Then bending your arms to 90 degrees, squeeze your shoulder blades closer to your spine. Now squeeze your knees together hard. Lift your hips up to the top and squeeze your buttocks. Fan your knees out to the sides, rolling onto the blade edge of your feet. Take your knees together and give them a squeeze, and lower yourself all the way down. All right, self-paced, continue. Squeeze your knees and your butt as your hips rise up. Roll onto the blade edge of your feet as your knees move sideways. Take them all the way back together, and on your own, keep repeating. Remember to squeeze your knees and your glutes as you're raised to the top. And take your hips all the way down. Draw your left knee toward the chest. Press your right heel onto the floor. Lift your hips all the way up in the air. And if possible, pike your left foot up to the ceiling. It's also okay to keep it bent. Come all the way back down to the earth. With feet initially touching, draw your other knee toward your chest. Power down through your left foot for the lift. If it works for you, pike your right leg up to the ceiling and keep breathing. From there, all the way back down to the ground. Grab hold the backs of your legs. Rock all the way up. Once you've done so, hop back to the high plank position and to the down dog stretch. Step your left foot all the way forward. Take your knee to the floor in the back. Turn your left toes out just a bit this time. With your left hand resting on the leg, rotate your torso to the left. Let your hips really sink down. Now, sometimes in order to grab your back leg, it helps to shift your hips backward toward the rear of the mat. From there, try to bend your back leg. If you can reach back with your left hand to grab it, do so. Otherwise, repeat the same posture we were in just a moment ago. If you do have the foot, then apply a little pressure again by letting your hips sink down and toward the earth. And initially, as you hold there, drag your heel toward your backside and hold. Then let the foot come away from your bum. Roll your chest open to the side to open up your chest muscles. And even now, continually still, drop your hips toward the floor. Now, so that your foot doesn't slam to the floor, lift your hips up and backward. Let it float more gracefully back down to the earth. And plant your hands and step yourself all the way back to the down dog. Lunge your other foot all the way forward. Take your back knee to the floor. Spin your toes outward. And start with the preliminary form. Right hand to your leg and the left hand to the floor. A spinal twist to the right with heavy hips sinking down. Now, if you find you can just bend your leg and grab, don't let me hold you back, go for it. If you want to ease into it like me, shift your hips back toward the rear of your mat. Bend your leg. If you can't quite find the foot, do some figure eights in the air with your hands, and sometimes that'll create the spatial awareness to grab the foot. Now, if you have it, drag your heel toward your backside and let your hips settle down. If you weren't able to grab the foot, come back to that previous twist that you were in. Lift your hips upwards and backwards. Drop them down toward the floor. If you're grabbing the foot, kick it backward into your hand. And roll your right chest open a little bit as you continue to hold that. All right, lift your hips upward and backward another time. Plant your hands. And this time around, step back to the high plank position. Drop your knees to the ground. Separate your ankles so that your ankles are wider than your hips. Walk your hands back and come up to a high kneeling position with your shoulders right above your waist. Now, if you know that you can effortlessly grab your heels in the camel's pose, you can always take your feet closer together. Otherwise, keep your legs kind of wide like mine. Knees together, and then with your hands resting on your hips, drive your knees into the floor. Squeeze your elbows back. Stretch your belly through lifting up to the base of your ribs. Now, if the camel's pose gives you sensitivity in your lower back, I would stay there. Otherwise, use your knee flexibility to rock back. Twist off to one side to grab a heel. Twist off to the other side, and if possible, grab that heel. And then drive your knees into the floor. Lift up to the base of your ribs. Lift your chin and roll it back to stretch your chest. Use an inhale to come all the way up. Once you've done so, lean forward and plant your hands on the ground. Crisscross your ankles, roll backward to a seated position. And this time today, I'm going to rotate around to face the camera. All right, now with this one, I'm going to do everything from the opposite perspective. We're going to do a combination of a twist and an abdominal strengthener. So if you will, spin your knees that way, over to your left-hand side. Rotating toward the right, allow a little space between your knees to sort of let them fan apart. Now place your right hand on the floor behind you, sort of your stabilizer, and reach your left arm straight upward into the air. Now you're going to thread the needle, so slide your left arm through the space you've created, and then slide your hand behind your right knee. And let that knee drop all the way down to the floor. Now usually you're going to have to shift everything a little bit, so slide your buttocks over to the left and place your right hand in a position that feels like you can support weight, like a really large push-up position. And for now, just rotate your chest off to the right. If you want to go further, pick your leg up and stick it on top of your arm and then crisscross your ankles. The next possibility is to work on straightening your legs a little bit. You can definitely stay there. Now, if you want to lift, lean a little more weight forward. Press down through your hands, and as you kick out through your feet, hold an Ashtavakrasana. And take your hips all the way back down and press all the way up. One of my favorite yoga poses of all time. So spin your knees off to the other side. With your legs initially bent, you're going to want some space between your knees to let them drop sideways. Then rotate your chest left. With your hand placed behind you so it can support some of your weight, thread the needle with your right arm. Jam your wrist right behind the knee. And then let your knee drop down to the floor. Now, our body's proportions are all different, so just slide your hips over to the side and experiment with your left hand's positioning. You can take it wider or closer in. You just want to find a point where the arm is bent. It feels like it can support your weight. Now, there's another potential entry point from the floor, but today we'll try it a little higher. Everybody resonates with different entry points. So with that arm bent, the left one, pick up your leg and place the right leg on the shelf of your uppermost arm. Crisscross your ankles. Now, to elongate the legs, press out to your heels and try to keep your thigh on your uppermost arm. If you press from there, it's pretty hard to get off the floor, so you might consider leaning even further forward. So you drive out through your feet, press, and see if you can get some portion of your lower body to lift off of the floor. And take your hips all the way back down and press all the way up to the top. All right, now today, a couple of different possibilities for your hips. Cross your left leg over for the cow face pose. Press your knees together and draw both feet back near your sides. If that's too much, you can keep your bottom leg straight. If it's not enough, make it a double pigeon. Slide your left ankle over, Optionally, your right ankle forward till your shin stack. And then from any of those postures, walk your hands forward and take the forward fold to stretch your hip. Slow, deep breaths. And walk your hands back and come all the way back up to the top. And find the same positioning on the other side. The cow face pose with one knee wrapped over top. I mentioned before, you can keep your bottom leg straight if you like. If you're going for the double pigeon, 2 approximately 90-degree angles in your legs with shins stacked. Now that bothers your knees in any way, shape, or form, go with the cow face stretch instead. Walk your hands forward and fold into the stretch. Just try to relax. Use an inhale to come up. Straddle your legs out to the sides. Roll your tailbone back a little bit. Walk your hands forward. Feel free to keep your arms straight. If you can take your elbows to the floor, do so. If you'd like to go further, feel free to completely lay down on the floor beneath. And use an inhale to sit up. Roll all the way down your back for a reclining twist. Once you're laying down there on the floor, reach your arms all the way out to your sides. Draw your knees toward your chest. Drop your knees right. And rotate your gaze left. Sweep your knees all the way back up and take them over for the same posture on the other side. And then finally, when you're ready, find your way to the corpse pose, flat out on your back on the floor. Make any final adjustments you need to so that you can become comfortable still. So I remember when I was 19 years old, I was very much hoping that my close friend would turn into my girlfriend. We had that particular discussion and she let me know that that was just not going to happen. And I'll be honest, at 19 years old, I was definitely broken up about that. Now at that time I was working for an older guy. I think he was 27 or 28. And I really thought he was kind of a wise person. You know, he was quite a bit older than me. He had a lot of experience and I really valued his opinion. So I told him about my particular struggles and my particular problems at the time, and he honestly listened very patiently and kindly. But at the end of it, he kind of chuckled and he said, David, you know what? You're going to be okay. And in fact, you should buckle up because life is going to hit you way harder later on down the road. Now, he was absolutely correct. At this point, I'm 43 years old. I know that I've definitely been crushed a time or two in ways that were way more intense than that particular experience. Some of those particular times have left my heart and kind of crumbled and broken. And I'm sure that you, having made it to this point in life, have experienced much the same. Our stories might be different, but I'm sure you've had things fall apart on you, things that left you sort of crumbled and heartbroken. And I'm sure that just like me, those times were very challenging for you. I know that sometimes when I have one of those challenging experiences, the History Channel of all things pops into my mind. I really love to watch movies about ancient cities and the treasures found in said cities. As it turns out, many of the beautiful artifacts that we have in museums have come out of ruins. Archaeologists dig them up and they pull out those beautiful golden pots and urns and different statuary. It's absolutely amazing to see. Now, upon reflection, I think that most of the greatest treasures of my life have also come out of a broken heart. You see, sometimes when I reflect backward, I get so many different lessons learned out of those experiences. One particular thing that I've derived again and again is empathy. It's the ability to actually feel another's pain when they start to go through similar things. Another thing that I've derived out of those experiences is hope. And I know that sometimes when I feel really, really broken, it's intense for a while, but then things shift, new things come up, something else gives me hope moving forward, and I'm able to patch up and heal. Now, there's many other different gifts that come out of those challenging times, but those are just a couple from me. Now, I think sometimes when I'm reflecting on those challenging times, if I can reflect on the gifts of the experience, then it seems as though the pain has some type of purpose. Now, don't get me wrong, I would absolutely prefer to completely avoid those learning experiences. But since that doesn't seem to be an option in life, I think reflecting to get something good out of it is not a bad thing. Sometimes that can take some of the edge off of the pain. Now, I know that for me, having been hurt a time or two, I find that my heart keeps telling me that I should move forward with all sorts of things that I want to do. But my rational mind steps in harder than ever saying, man, you got to pump the brakes. You shouldn't do that. It starts to raise fear and all sorts of other emotions that might prevent me from living a fuller life. Now, I don't know that I have the full answer to that. I think that fear and anxiety are a normal protective mechanism from the mind. But I know that in my own personal practice, when I do some meditation, sometimes I start to feel a little bit more like myself. In that space, I'm better able to actually go where my heart wants me to go. So I think meditation in some way is a really great way to maintain an open heart, even when life bangs you up a little bit. Now, honestly, I actually don't understand how it works, but I know that when I get still and quiet for a little while and look deeply inside, sometimes the future completely disappears. I completely forget about my past, and in the present moment, I just feel more open to life. Sometimes that creates rippling effects that continue on as I step off of my mat. Now, there are many other benefits in Tire, but I think when it comes to healing and really cultivating an open heart as we move forward through life, meditation is a very valuable thing to have in your toolbox. So, as we always do, we'll practice together once more while here. Now, to start all that, just breathe normally. As I've been talking, you've lain there long enough for your heartbeat to decelerate. It should be coming closer to normal rhythms, though it might still be up just a slight bit. And check into your breath and let your breath be completely normal and natural. Sometimes if I just try to focus on points, my mind still flits around like a butterfly, landing on different flowers. But I've also noted that when I stop breathing for short increments of time, it makes it easier to concentrate. Because for most of us, there's a correlation between speed of breath and speed of thought. I think that you will find the same. So redirect all of your awareness to your eyes for now. As you focus there, breathe normally. And pause at the end of your next exhale and relax. Breathe in. Focus on your throat and breathe out. Hold your breath out. Breathe in. The tips of your shoulders, breathe out. Breathe in. Elbows, breathe out. Breathe in. Wrists, breathe out. Breathe in. Palms of your hands, breathe out. Breathe in. Fingertips, breathe out. Breathe in. Your hips, breathe out. Breathe in. Your knees, breathe out. Breathe in. Ankles, breathe out. Breathe in. Tips of your toes, breathe out. Breathe in. Sides of your body, breathe out. Breathe in. Back of your body, breathe out. Breathe in. Navel, breathe out. Breathe in. Center chest, breathe out. Breathe in. Your shoulders, breathe out. Breathe in. Your neck, breathe out. Breathe in. Center chest, breathe out. Breathe in. Palms of your hands, breathe out. Breathe in. Bottoms of your feet, breathe out. Breathe in. Base of your spine, breathe out. Breathe in. Top of your head, breathe out. And then return to normal breaths again. So there's an amazing breath pattern called Bhastrika Pranayama that clears your mind like nobody's business. There are many different forms of it, but today in the base form, you're going to take a powerful inhale through your nose and then relax to exhale through your mouth. The round will sound like this. So powerful breath in through the nose and a relaxed exhale through your mouth. Now, as you do this, you're going to lower carbon dioxide levels in your body very quickly. That will create a chemical shift within you that will relax and calm your mind. As you continue on through the repetitions, your hands might start tingling, which is completely normal. That will go away as soon as the exercise ends. You'll most likely also feel a little bit lightheaded, and sometimes this exercise even makes your skin warm up and feel a little hotter. So if you experience any of those things, know that it's completely normal. Now, to begin, we'll start together. I will continue on with the practice through you. We'll do roughly 40 repetitions, and at the end of it, I'm going to have you hold your breath out for a little while longer than you have been. If you need to breathe before I tell you to, it's absolutely okay. But for now, just try to match the pace to me. We'll start with a huge inhale, a relaxed exhale, and then continue on at your own pace as we go through roughly 40 reps. So for now, deep breath into the nose. Relaxed exhale. Continue. Slightly faster. Continue. Ten more. Inhale and hold. Slowly let your breath go. Without breathing out all of your air, pause your breath at the end. Relax mentally and physically. Your carbon dioxide is low, so you don't have to breathe, so try not to. And know that you also have tons of oxygen, so you're fine. If you're tempted to breathe, swallow, attempt to buy more time. And hold for 10 more seconds if you can. Breathe in. Hold your breath, tense, and push some of that pressure up into your skull. And then relax and return to normal breath. Normal inhales and normal exhales again. So you should do that particular exercise anytime you're feeling stressed out or a little bit closed down. It's a powerful exercise. It'll help you open up again. Now, a couple caveats. You should always do it when laying on the ground, because after a while, it will help you hold your breath for a much longer period of time. As you hold, it's possible that you could pass out. If that happens when you're laying on the floor, your body will take over, you'll start breathing, and you'll wake up after a few moments. But if you're sitting up or driving in a car, that could be catastrophic. Now, similarly, you should not do the exercise when you're in water for the same reasons. You should always do it laying on the ground with support. Aside from that, you do multiple rounds and it'll make you feel great at the end. For now, roll all the way over and then on to one side. Well, both your eyes closed. Come back to a seated and cross-legged posture of some type. Once you're there, join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Remember the person you dedicated your practices to. Either pray for or wish for their happiness and their health. And take a moment to be grateful for the gift of another day. If you wish, repeat after me. May all sentient beings everywhere experience peace.